Thinking my wristband is a watch. We are waiting for Jon Jones. He should be arriving around 11:30 Central Time. If you're just joining us, we're waiting for Jon Jones. This is Alex Savas with MMA Fighting. Should be scheduled to arrive around 11:30 a.m. Central Time here in Houston.
No, grab your chair and
that's why I put it there, just to save your spot.
Jon Jones should be here any minute. We're past 11:30, so who knows? Would he be on time?
He's in the building.
Isn't he staying here?
Yes. That's
So
why
he
he's
should
here.
be in the building.
That's how I know he's here. Because he's staying here.
It's the whole weekend outside.
Oh, you work for Showtime? Floyd. How late was Floyd?
The latest Floyd's ever been, I'd say 4 hours.
That's quite late.
4 hours.
I would
yeah.
describe that as not punctual.
Yeah, but you know it's happening. You know?
4 hours is a bit egregious, but
Yeah. But
an
then,
hour is like, okay. But 4 hours.
maybe 3 hours. He was 3 hours. I remember, I particularly remember one workout where he was 3 hours, but then he proceeded to work out for 90 minutes. So,
Is that in his sweatbox in the gym?
yeah. Right.
Sticky.
It is very hot. There's only like one bathroom that wears. The other one's for the fighters.
Everyone's aggressive. No one like it. They are.
Maybe that's where I got my like edge from. Like when I'm like, it's definitely, you know, when we're like, oh, Mr. was yelling at people. I was like, yeah, that's because of boxing.
Yeah. Sit down on the ground now!
That's because of boxing.
That's because of boxing, they're all just...
You just see everybody just milling about and like standing in your shot, and you're just like, just me yelling.
Yeah.
Alex Lee says, "Boo, Oscar."
Who?
Alex Lee.
Well, you tell Alex Lee.
He can hear you.
I know. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
I think every time
Is he still dealing? Or? That was a joke. Sorry.
No, it's great.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Sorry, other Alex.
Sorry, other Alex.
Or as Nana calls him, Alex number 2.
I don't know which is worse.
Alexes? Oh, you're Alex. I said, there's 2 Alexes in front? Sorry.
And there's also another Alex in Toronto as well.
Yeah.
So,
That's Alex Lee.
no, there's another Alex in Toronto. Alex.
Oh. But she doesn't want to fight, right?
No, but
I was going to say 3 is too many. You should have some sort of
when we're in the same room, Alex number 2, she gets something else.
Congratulations, Alexander Lee. That's probably everything you ever wished for, huh? Sort of respect. From your own colleagues, they pick someone else before you. You'll always be Alexander number 1 to me.
I just really would like, I think it would be great to get to like follow down.
I agree.
I was tempted to ask her what you should fight.
What stage are you here?
That's what it's like.
I don't know.
I don't think so. You're seeing the driver's license. Okay, well, I don't know.
Alex 2 minutes trying to sell me guys at Boston. It's very attentive. I feel like I just keep like shit.
Terrible.
It went back and I went back. And this time, it still felt like a real man, you know. Fill a hole that I didn't know I had. You must running up. Rooty tooty pointy shooties. Sounds exciting. It's just like a shake up. That's a good point. Actually, I was raised in a very realistic list of being able to school. Whereas over here, I imagine that it was getting shot by real life.
False hopes. There was a movement, and you're like, oh, maybe. No, he's not here.
The movement, still no Jon Jones.
Every time I see someone come in the room in the back, I'm like, oh, no. Not him.
Yeah, Scrum time is going down.
Yep.
You guys are streaming this must be really thing.
We are live.
So exciting.
Yeah. That chair.
Just a lot of viewers listening to us.
If you want, guys, I can maybe wiggle the chair around a little bit just to get a bit of movement going on.
Can you get up on the stage?
Not in this shirt.
In this shirt.
I'm doing alright, actually.
Not bad. It's cool down in here.
Yeah, they turned the AC on. It was definitely.
It's always hot when you look like this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh so hard.
Thanks, Esther. Yeah. It's good for the ego.
What did you guys think of the athlete panel last night?
I thought you were doing that to the stream.
I am.
Not even looking at the answers. I was like, what are you saying?
I'm looking at the answers.
I think it's a nice thing for the fans in a way, but it's hard to get in a really good question.
And I think that the bigger names really overpower the rest of the fighters.
Yeah.
And that's
In fact, it wasn't intentional, but it's actually much better that Jon showed up late because it meant that there were opportunities to get
exactly.
questions themselves.
Which is kind of their intention today as well, with Jon Jones showing up half an hour after everybody else had time to talk to the other fighters.
I think so too, actually.
There's also done a lot of media.
Has
You can only ask him about Israel so many times. I reckon I can get 5 in.
This one was like a little more like in terms of like.
This was better than the 245 one.
Yeah, the 245 one, it was just like kind of a circus. Mostly Colby, just kind of like goading everybody and stuff like that. So it was just a little difficult to. Like we weren't getting any real answers. You know.
Yeah, that was dark.
I think the fan questions too, like there's no reason to read out like Twitter handles and stuff. I know people feel like they're participating, but it's a little...
Yeah, interesting to the one person in the world that wrote that question.
It's a little gimmicky.
Yeah, and actually...
it's only entertaining when it's like MMA tug job or whatever.
Yeah, I wish you would have just read, like, just read, like, just spell it out. Just MMA-TUGG. Don't say it out loud, because you just say MMA tug.
Yeah.
I think
that was the only bit that made me MMA tug. I really love this sport to make that your handle.
Every once in a while I was like, oh, this handle's gonna be terrible.
Do you think this in his LinkedIn as well? MMA tug, you're a founder.
MMAtug.com.
And what would you like to be? An accountant?
Countdown show, they all thought that was just accountant. He was dressed up. I thought that Jon dressed up though. I was actually kind of disappointed that not I mean, it's an opportunity to dress up, and it was weird that both Dominic and especially Dominic just showed up in a UFC shirt. You know?
He usually does better.
Yeah, he usually dresses
It does better.
So
I just want to say you let everyone down yesterday, Dominic, with your choice of attire. Your mum called me, she was disappointed.
Alright, we got Jon Jones heading in.
How are you guys? How y'all feeling?
You don't happen to have any more of the boom boxes to give away, do you?
Oh man, I probably could get you one, John.
Talk to me about what fight week is like for you, man. At this point in your career, I mean, you've been doing this for so long, top of the game for so long. I mean, are there nerves? Are there excitement? Is there what is the emotion of a fight week like for you?
I'm excited. Obviously, we all get nervous. And guys who said they're not nervous at all, it's probably a dangerous spot to be in. Right? This game requires a certain amount of nerve. But my excitement definitely outweighs any level of nervousness. I feel like I just saw you guys not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I like this rhythm. I like this pace style.
Nice. Yeah, you talked about the reason you wanted this fight is because he seemed like the more dangerous guy. Now, a man in your position who's got records to break and things, I would think you take the easier fight. Take the one you think, the guy you think is less dangerous,
right.
You know, because it's safer. You feel better about it.
Right.
Why is that not the attitude?
There's a little strategy behind it. You know, I feel like a guy so young in Dominick Reyes, he's only going to get better. Right? He's so new in the game. So I want to take him now while he's still fairly inexperienced, and I think we all know that I do better in rematches. So when he does come back, you know, hopefully I can dominate him even more in even more dominating fashion than I am going to on Saturday.
Right.
And then the other half of it is just striking while he's hot. He's hot right now, and like I said at the press conference, you know, I don't want to wait. And I don't want to wait too long. You know, I want to give people the fights when both fighters are hot, and he's hot, and so that's what I'm giving people.
You said yesterday, I kind of got the idea that you weren't interested in Corey Anderson, like it didn't excite you. But yesterday you said he's got a chip on his shoulder that you want to chew on a little bit.
I want to eat it.
So if he wins, I mean, is that a fight that does excite you?
Yeah, absolutely. Corey Anderson, he's extremely versatile, and just the way he went in there with full confidence against Johnny Walker and just chewed him up. It shows me that he has that fire that I'm looking for.
John, when Reyes has said a few things this time, I know it doesn't necessarily annoy you, but are you just confused in the things he says? Like he says, he hasn't fought an athlete like me, which, I mean, like you said yesterday, everyone in the UFC is probably a good athlete.
Yeah.
And then he said, I know how to study tape, and he's talking to the team that's most famous for studying tape in MMA. Are you confused at the choices of angles he's taking in this build-up?
Yeah, I think he's reaching. And my job is just to call him out on his silly comments. And you know, like when a guy is hanging on to these wild ideas to Dave, do you mind if I get like a small coffee? Thank you. Yeah, I woke up this morning. I didn't drink any water. Woke up pretty late. I'm glad I got a lot of sleep though. Yeah, I think he's reaching. He's trying to hang on to these ideas to like pump himself up, and my job is just to take his ideas away and send him into the fight with nothing, pretty much. And it's easy to do that because you know, like when you say things like Weidman beat Anderson and I beat Weidman, this is going to give me the magic that I need. What are you freaking talking about? Like silly shit like that, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, or you haven't fought an athlete, or you know, or you haven't fought a Latino, and like all this stuff, like it's about race. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? It's like, it's about skill setting here. I've fought guys from all over the world with different ethnicities and different cultures behind them, and it has made no difference. Why do you know? So he's just silly. He's reaching for anything he can find, and and let him have it.
Have you noticed that when you called him out saying, "Oh, why do you got to bring up party favors?" that he sort of immediately stopped going that route and he didn't want to talk trash anymore?
Yeah.
So do you think this, like you said, he's just trying to find any sort of identity he can to get into this fight?
I think he knows that he's over his head, and he knows that he maybe. I don't want to say that he doesn't belong here. I don't know. I think he doesn't think before he speaks. That's ultimately what it is. And then he finds himself backtracking. Like if you watch the Ariel Helwani interview when Ariel asks him what you mean about the athlete thing, and how he was like, oh, if you don't get it, I guess you just don't understand. It's just like, you can't even back up his silly thoughts, I just think he needs to slow down, think before he speaks. I mean, even with the bipolar thing, he called me bipolar. It's like, do you know how many people in the world are losing their homes, losing their marriages, losing their jobs? Like, bipolar is something that can come onto you in your later years in life. It's like, it's a very serious mental illness. And the fact that he just rattles friggin' things like that out of his mouth, it's just, he's an asshole, really.
You won your first world title in 2011, I think, and he made his pro debut in 2014. Even if you win on Saturday, we're now reaching the era where guys are fighting you who grew up watching you. It was always said about GSP, one of the reasons why he's the best of all time is he beat like 3 generations. You potentially, if you do this 10 years, could beat 4 generations. Is that something you think about?
I haven't really thought about it, no, but my goal is just to be here for an extremely long time, a very long time. I want to be here for the whole next decade, and I want to be the champion for this next decade. And, I look at Daniel Cormier as an inspiration for him to be the champion at 40 years old, dominating guys much younger than him. He lets me know that if I do the right things, thank you, sir. He lets me know if I do the right things and really take care of myself, there's no reason why we can't keep up with this next generation of fighters, or this next decade of fighters. So that's the goal, that's the motivation. Thank you for the motivation, Daniel Cormier.
You appeared on ESPN yesterday with Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith, and it seemed like an entertaining interview for yourself.
Yeah, I think they wanted it to be a little bit more hairy than I allowed it to be.
Do you think it's more hairy, or they're just trying to appeal to the general audience, so perhaps there's Conor and Khabib?
I think Max was definitely trying to lay it on me, for sure. I don't think any of the questions he asked were softballs. I think he was trying to be a little controversial with me, and I was really proud of myself for the way I handled the situation. I definitely felt like I took the high road.
There was a thing with Stephen A. Smith and Joe Rogan recently where Stephen A. Smith says stuff about Donald Cerrone, Joe Rogan said he doesn't really understand MMA, so he shouldn't say this comment. Do you think people like Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith have a responsibility to better understand the sport when they cover it?
Absolutely. If you guys are going to, hats off to Stephen A. Smith, by the way. Always been, I think he's a tremendous reporter, but you're absolutely right. I think he does need to do more homework. You need to go back and maybe watch some of those Pride fights. You need to go back and start at UFC 1 and really do your homework. That way you know not only who we all are, but positioning, technique, a few submission names. I doubt they're at that level, and I would love to encourage them to get at that level. If you're a true professional, that's what you do.
So a lot of the narrative has been focused on Dominick's undefeated record, but not so much about you being the first guy that's undefeated on his face.
Right.
You think something's lost in that?
Yeah, something's lost in that, but I think it's the people reaching to build him up. He's undefeated. At the end of the day, if you look at who he's undefeated against, he's never been in a situation like this, fighting someone who's not only undefeated as well, but somebody with just, double the experience as him. Everyone's talking about his athleticism, but I come from a family of all world champions, so I'm cool kind of taking the back road and letting people build him up. I don't feel like I really need it. I feel like my work speaks for itself.
And before the OSP fight, you told me, you look at fighting like a test.
Yeah.
So how would you categorize the level of difficulty of the test and preparing for Dominick?
Dominick Reyes is a test. He's definitely a test. I felt like I needed to get physically stronger at this camp, so I really worked on my physical strength a lot. He's just brought out something else in me. I've studied so extensively for this fight. for him to be so kind of inexperienced, there's something inside of me that lets me know, like, John, you cannot take this guy lightly. In a way, he could be more dangerous than the guys that are more experienced just because he doesn't know any better. You know what I mean? Like, when you listen to him talk, he's so emotional, he's so all over the place. He just wants to fight. He doesn't really care if he wins. He doesn't care if he loses. He just wants to give it all he got. So, like, when you're fighting someone like that, you got to take a step back and, like, you're dealing with a wild dog here. You know what I mean? You can't just reach in there and get bit. You got to come at him with a really strategic approach, you know, and that's exactly what I'm prepared for. He's gotten me and my team's complete undivided attention. We're taking him very, very seriously.
So do you think you would have given him that respect if he hadn't kind of riled you up a little bit, if he hadn't thrown the verbal jabs your way? Do you think you would have still given him that amount of respect, or does that make you give a guy more respect when it's like a rivalry almost?
You know, I feel like I know a lot of guys like him. And living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I feel like I know a lot of guys like him. One thing you know when you live in Albuquerque is he's gonna bring it. He's gonna bring it. You know, there's guys, I see guys out at the club who don't know a lick of martial arts, and the culture is like, yo, I'll fight you, bro. I don't care. I'll give it all I got. You know, if you knock me out, so what? You know. So I know, okay, there's a similar vibe. But he's actually backed up by some martial arts techniques. So I know that I got to bring it, and that's exactly what he's going to get.
Early on, he was talking about in interviews, like he said he was going to knock you out. And since, like, similar to other statements, he's backed off of that, and now he's kind of said, I just see, you know, getting my hand raised. You think that's like something going on mentally with him, to where he's like not as confident anymore, or?
I think he's just he's a very emotional fighter. He's a very emotional person. You know, if he's sad, he'll come out. Like, if you watch some of his interviews, it seems like he can't even breathe. You know, like the anxiety and the emotions kind of taking over him sometimes. And then other times he's laughing and playful and just speaking out of his ass. You know what I mean? One thing about saying that you're going to knock somebody out is what you're doing is you're putting all your eggs in one basket. I never claim that I'm going to finish the fight. I say that I would like to finish the fight. And I can predict that I'm going to finish the fight, but I never guarantee people that I'm going to finish the fight. When you say that you're going to knock a person out, and when you find yourself going into round 4, and I'm still here looking at you, and you're breathing hard and I'm not, it can cause a sense of panic, like, oh boy, my plan didn't work. I thought I was going to get a first round knockout, and here we're going into round 2. You know what I'm saying? So he's just adding pressure for himself to say he's going to knock out. I'm like, hey, I'm going to find a way to win. Well, what round are you going to win, John? Or how are you going to beat him? Is it going to be a submission? I try not to never claim that type of stuff, because that adds pressure on me, and we don't need added pressure at this level. So I think that's why he's backing up on the idea of knocking me out. It's like, first of all, there's only one person who's wobbled me in a fight, and I mean, if you look at my last fight against Thiago Santos, Thiago will come running forward with left hook, right hook, uppercut, boom, 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 boom. Every single one of his shots were knockout blows, and something happens when I'm in there where my senses are higher, and I'm able to just boom, 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 boom. And it's not even technical. It's not even technical weaving, boxing weaving. It's just like it's a gift. It's a gift, man. I feel like Ali had it too a little bit. He could do like this and just make you miss somehow, right? And I feel like I have that too. And I don't think people give me credit for that. It's like, very rarely do I really get caught clean with a shot. And Dominick's the type of guy where he's not going to be running at me like Thiago Santos with 5-punch combinations. Dominick's going to wait back, and he's going to throw a straight left, or he's going to throw a round left. It's like one shot at a time, one shot. So if I can block a 5-shot combination from Thiago, I'm pretty sure I can block his very basic left shot, left kick, low kick, mid kick, left shot. It's like, so I don't think he realizes the level of defense he's getting ready to go in there against. No one's talking about that, and I'm just like...
John, it seems every time you say, right, I'm not talking about Israel Adesanya anymore, he does an interview and mentions your name again. Where are we with that? He's going to be here this week, you might even cross paths. Is that something you'd even like to happen, just to be like, look, are we going to do this? Are we not going to do this?
No, honestly, I have no interest in Israel at the end of the day. Anderson Silva was a guy that everyone wanted to see me fight, and I never wanted to do it because I had so much respect with Anderson. And I feel the same way with Izzy, but it's not coming from a place of respect. It's like my career isn't based around fighting him. Him to fight me, it would be huge for his resume. But for me, I feel like I already have so many legends under my resume, and he's not even a legend. You know what I mean? We've all seen that video of him fighting some Alex guy and catching a clean overhand right. So he's very human to me. Like he's not this special guy that I don't see what everybody else is seeing in him. I think his whole anime stuff and how he's all antic with his hands and all this crazy stuff, I think that's kind of entertaining a certain fan base. But for me, it's like, dude, I would slap you, get out of here, kid.
Do you think you ever got the credit for becoming a world champion so young? Because I think the older we get, the more we realize how young 23 actually is.
Yeah. Honestly, to be dead honest, I feel like it's going to be harder to break that record because of where martial arts is going. When I joined in the sport, I wanted to get Shogun, who's definitely an honorable guy to get it from. I mean, he was very first. He had great jiu-jitsu, great striking, but his wrestling, there's a huge hole in his wrestling. And I just so happened to be a wrestler, and I filled in that hole, took him down, and ultimately pretty much finished the fight on the ground, right? I think in the future, you're not going to be finding champions with holes like that. I think the future champions are going to have elite jiu-jitsu, elite wrestling, and elite kickboxing. So in order for a 23-year-old to come up and become a world champion, he's gonna have to be trained in everything, and he's gonna have to have no holes in this game, or else I don't see anybody else beating him.
But in terms of all the out of the age stuff that you've gone through over and over again, I think everyone wants to pin it on you. At 23, 24, 25, even 26, you're still a young man, you're still learning, you're still growing up.
Yeah.
Do you think you ever got the fair shake about that?
I can't play a poor me role. I've done a lot of wild stuff. You know what I mean? I can't play poor me. But at the same time, sometimes I think about it this way. My little brother and my older brother are in the NFL, and from the time they left college, they had programs to really show them how to be a professional athlete. The NFL, their team provided them with a driver that they can call 24 hours. In the NFL, there's a chaplain that they can call 24 hours. There's group meetings. There's fellow guys to be around to encourage you. I was just kind of thrown into like, okay, here you're fairly famous now, and here's some money too. It's like when you come from nothing, and at that age, it can be a lot to handle. It can be a lot to juggle. I don't think I had enough mentors in my life at that point, and I'm glad I finally figured it all out.
It just reminds me of Sean stars when like a kid actor or just being gets famous and they go off around, everyone goes, well, they're just a kid, they go give all this money. At 23, you are a kid in this game.
Yeah.
I wonder if you ever felt like that they never gave you that sort of asterisk of like, he is the old man.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people look back on some of the things I've done and say, he's young, and I'm still fairly young. I mean, at 30, I feel like there's a lot more lessons I can learn. But at the end of the day, with great responsibility, with great talent comes great responsibility, and it was my job to figure it out a little faster. And they say guys mature a little slower than women, right? So I'm at 30. I'm finally starting to feel like, okay, John, I'm getting it. I'm starting to get how not to fuck up. Excuse me. And let's see how it goes.
Jon, you mentioned Australia earlier this week. Wanting to fight over there, fight overseas, kind of expand your brand. How important is it to you to have not just one but multiple fights in different countries, so different audiences can experience?
I'm hearing rumors. That for this arena, there's never been more people in attendance. And what that's showing me is that maybe I need to step outside of Las Vegas and start fighting in these markets where people won't see me too often. I think that's gonna be important. So, if I can possibly break numbers here in Houston, I can only imagine what could happen if I went to Australia or one of these other countries where they never expect to see me. I think that people will come out, and that's what it's about: giving love, sharing it, and spreading this.
Adesanya's a big draw in Australia.
Yeah, he is. I bet I'd be an even bigger.
I know you talked with Kamaru kind of like jokingly about UFC Africa. Is that something that you really want to push for and make happen?
I would love to, man. I would love to. I just did my my ancestry.com, and I'm not sure what I am yet, but when I find out, all you guys are going to know what type of warrior I am.
John, back in 2011.
We gotta get ready to go. We have to break.
Sorry. Cool.